So in today's video, I want to talk about some Caribbean literature. Now, I actually don't dive into Caribbean literature like I do with African literature, but when I have been pleasantly surprised. Just like African literature, they have really good storytelling too, and I have enjoyed some of them that I have read before. I have some that I want to discuss that I have read and some that I have not read that is in my collection. So, yeah, let's just get started. Okay, so we're going to talk about the ones that I have read. So first is The Book of Night Women by Marlon James. This is the only book I have by him, and this is the only book I've read so far. And I really did enjoy this book. I read this maybe about 2 to 3 years ago, and I would be open to read another one of his books. Now, I know in his later works or recent works, he has been doing some like speculative fiction and that science fiction. I can't get down with that, but I'm like, I really did like the way he wrote the women characters, and maybe I think because I did like that, I'm thinking that I should just start with that. So I'm thinking that I'm going to get out of my comfort zone and maybe read that, or actually, you know what, listen to it while reading it, because I think I can get through it when I do that, as opposed to just having the physical book and navigating it, because that can just be science fiction. Like I said, I really did like his writing. Next is, of course, you have to mention, okay, this woman when you talk about Caribbean literature, and that is Jamaica Kincaid. This is the first book I read by her. It's called Annie John. All this coming of age story. Loved it so much. I loved it that I ended up buying like 3 or 4 more of her books. I bought Lucy, Mr. Porter, and I have a collection of short stories by her, which I need to get back into her, books, because I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I think I read this book in one day, because first of all, it's like 100 and something pages, but she's another one that she just captures you, and also this book, you're not going to forget, the character. And again, coming of age story, dealing with a girl that lives in the Caribbeans. Yeah, love it. Okay, next is Joan Riley, The Unbelongings. Now, this was real deep. Okay, it was very deep. This one, it actually was set in Britain. A young girl that is 11 years old, I believe. Her mother just passed. She starts living with her dad and her stepmom, and the stepmom can't stand her, anything like that. And she's so, so, so smart. And she goes to a school where she's the only black, child, and she gets bullied because she's dark skinned, like her hair texture, they just, yeah. Then her dad, he like tries to sexually, either does he try or do something, I think he does try to do something, and she ends up getting out of the situation and living, her life. But there's a lot of hurdles because of her home life and what she thinks about herself, where when she did become older, she allowed people to kind of just treat her any type of way. And it was kind of like, well, I'm a black poor child, who's gonna really care about me, or this is just a territory. But it was, like I said, it was deep, but it was really, really, really good. And it is a short book, so it's only 144 pages. It was a little bit of a, not a cliffhanger, but I think I would have wanted more, but I am more than satisfied with how it is. Next, oh my gosh, you guys, this was, oh, I love this book so much. I need to revisit this book. It is Patsy by Nicole Dennis Benn. Now, you know what? I'm going to talk about her first book, which we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Okay, but this, oh gosh, what can I say about this book? You know what? I wanted to really just hate Patsy because she left that child, left her daughter True. But I also wanted her to win. But at the same time, it's like, girl, you are being so selfish, because it's not just you anymore. I can see how if it was her and she left Jamaica to go to the United States, to go to New York, But it's like, you have a whole child that you promised to call, come back, and baby, I'm not leaving. And yeah. Now, one thing I did like about this book, y'all, it ended so good. Oh my goodness. And because, Patsy went through it. This is a woman that is not documented. She's not a American citizen. And I mean, you can't get no bank account. You can't. It's just hard, okay, just to live. And it was like Patsy was just going through it. But her thing is, I am not going back to Jamaica. Okay, I'm not. Point blank. Period. This unbelievable. I need to go back to reading this because I just remember when I was reading this, I just was so engrossed. And also it lingered. I just kept on thinking about it, thinking about it, thinking about it. You're not gonna forget True and Patsy. Not gonna forget them at all. You see, I'm gushing over this book, okay? And lastly is How the One-Armed Sister Swept Her House by Cherie Jones. I didn't like this. It was hard for me to even finish. And for some reason, that was during a time where I was just like so not, wanting to DNF books. I'm glad I got over that point because, girl, I'm not gonna read a book that I'm not interested in. And I had so much high hopes for this book and really wanted to, like it. And the cover's bomb, and people were talking about it. I didn't like this. And I can't even tell you. Okay, Lala. I remember Lala's grandmother, Wilma, tells her the story of the one-armed girl. It's a cautionary tale about what happens to girls who disobey their mothers and go into. Okay, yeah. And Lala's husband, he was real trifling. He did something that wasn't good. And she was all mixed up in it because of, his stupidity. Yeah. Okay, it's coming back to me a little bit. Just a tiny bit. But yeah, this was a no-go for me. I think I rated this about 2 stars. It was a no-go. I really love the cover. Really love it. Okay, so those are the Caribbean books that I have read. I want to talk about some that I have not read that I really want to. So first I would say is, because I love Patsy so much, and I know I probably should have started with Here Comes the Sun and then Patsy, but I did it backwards. But Here Comes the Sun, I really want to read this because I loved Patsy. Oh my goodness, loved it. And I remember I started this book and then I had gotten distracted with another book and put this, on the back burner because I even have some tabs, which I'm going to have to replace these tabs because y'all know I don't do this no more. And then actually I stopped at page 60. So yeah, it wasn't boring at all. I can't even tell you which book I got into and I stopped reading it. But yeah, this I really want to get back into it. Next is The Mermaid of Black, is it Conch? I don't think I'm saying that right, by Monique Ruffy. The reason why I got this because it was kind of like a black belt ballerina, black mermaid. And it says, okay, in 1976, David is fishing off the island of Black Conch when he comes upon a creature he doesn't expect, a mermaid. Once a beautiful young woman, she was cursed by a jealous wife to live in this form for the rest of her days. But after the mermaid is caught by an American tourist, David rescues and hides her away in his home. So good. Finding that once out of the water, she begins to transform back into a woman. Ooh! Now David must work to win her trust while she relearns what it is to be human, navigating not only her new body, but also her relationship with others on the island. A difficult task after centuries of loneliness. As David grows to love each other, they juggle both the joys and the dangers of the shore. But a lingering question remains. Will the former mermaid be able to escape her curse? This mystical adventure tells the story of one woman's return to land, her healing, and her survival. Now, usually y'all know, magical realism, that speculative type thing, fiction, fantasy, that's a no-go for me. But that just sounds so intriguing when he hides her away from the tourists and then she transitions into a woman. And yeah, and I love the cover. Next is These Ghosts Are Family by Maisie Card. I remember when this came out, everybody was talking about it because it's dealing with a man that, doesn't he like fake his own death or something like that? And that was already intriguing. And like I said, Caribbean novelists, they can tell a story. So I waited like a while ago to actually pick this book up. As you can see, I bought it for $4. But yeah, this is another one where I really want to get into. This was a debut novel, and it's set in the 70s. And lastly, I have this author named Michelle Cliff. I have a Bing, and then I have No Telephone to Heaven. I remember getting these from Second and Charles, and this was during the time where anything that was black literature, I just picked it up. I didn't even know what it was about. But both of these do sound really intriguing. The critical acclaimed novel of a story of Claire Savage, a light-skinned 12-year-old middle-class girl growing up in Jamaica in the 1950s. As Claire tries to find her own identity and place in her culture, she carries the burden of her mixed heritage. And there's her white great-grandfather, Judge Savage, who burns his 100 slaves on the eve of the emancipation. Oh, Lord. And Claire struggled to reconcile the conflicting legacy of her own personal lineage. Oh, Lord. He burned his 100 slaves. This does sound good, though. And then this one is... Oh, wait. This is a sequel. It says the story is one of discovery as Claire moves through a variety of settings, Jamaica, England, and America, and encounters people who affect her search for place and self. Oh, girl, I had these for so long and didn't realize that this was... Okay. So just learn something new. I want to get into this author because it does sound very intriguing. Also, too, no one talks about her, and you guys know I like that. So yeah, guys, that is it when it comes to my Caribbean literature so far. Again, like I said, I am still exploring, still trying to buy that genre of literature because I don't have a lot, but what I have read, I have really, really enjoyed. So yeah, guys, that's all I have for you, and I'll be back with more black books.